Welcome back to Friends of the Night. Yesterday, the FAA closed El Paso Airspace. There's been many speculation on why this could be. What the heck is going on in Texas right now? There was a forum on Reddit that came out that people saw last night something strange go down in the middle of the night. Many people saw it. It wasn't just one person. People all over a forum said, I saw it, I heard a big bang. This came out of Indiana, and it just so happens after a chat GPT search, you can see from Indiana to El Paso the sky because of the low light pollution. Now in the city, if you're standing in the city of El Paso, you might not see it because there is the city light pollution, but from the outside of El Paso and Indiana, you would be able to see something fall out of the sky. Many people said they saw it. Now, the FAA closed the airspace for 10 days, right? And that caused a lot of, no one knew what the heck was going on because the airports haven't been closed since 9/11. So you have to think that if they're going to close the airspace, something like 9/11 should be the cause if they're going to close it for 10 days, like some significant threat, not just something small. And so now, after only a few hours, they lifted the ban. So about an hour ago, it looks like the city council made a live video taking not really any questions. They said at the start of it that they didn't want to take any questions. But, they're kind of giving some information to the public and the residents of El Paso because they're like, what the heck is going on? And I found this video to be very strange because they don't have a lot of answers. Now, there's talk right now on the internet that this is cartel related. And the government people working at the city council and stuff, they weren't told that it was cartel related. And I believe that if this thing was cartel related, it's an easy thing to be like, hey, it's cartel related. You know what I mean? Something weird with the cartel. You hear about the cartel all the time. It's no shocking thing. Everybody knows that it's a threat. So for the fact that they're not saying that it's cartel related directly, and there just seems to be a lot of speculation right now. So because I have an extraterrestrial audience, I have a lot of people that believe in extraterrestrials, I want to treat this video that I'm about to show as if this is an extraterrestrial cover-up. So in the comments, what I want you guys to do is talk about why this could be extraterrestrial related. It's easy for people to be like, oh, it's the cartel because I was told it's the cartel, right? That's easy. Let's treat this right now like this is a cover-up. Something came crashing down in El Paso, Texas, and now their city is put on blast. They need to go to the public. They need to be like, hey, listen, we don't know why there was a 10-day ban. We don't really know what's going on, but they're coming at it at a very aggressive stance. So let's treat it right now. We're going to play the video. I'm going to pause it a little bit with some critiques, and let's see what the people in El Paso have to say.
And we will be taking limited questions after the statement. Thank you.
Limited questions because they don't know.
Well, good morning, everyone. I want to provide an official update to the people of El Paso regarding the FAA's decision to place a temporary flight restriction and then their decision to lift the temporary flight restriction over our city. This unnecessary decision has caused chaos and confusion in the El Paso community. I want to be very, very clear that this should have never happened. You cannot restrict airspace over a major city without coordinating with the city, the airport, the hospitals, the community leadership. That failure to communicate is unacceptable.
They shut down the airspace without warning anybody. They didn't tell anybody that they had to shut this down. That's why it's strange, right? If this was cartel related, if this was some type of gang coming into town, that's what the cartel is just a big gang, right? It's like one of the world's biggest gangs. Like, that should just be like a, hey, listen, we have a problem. We have a problem coming in. We think the cartel is closing in with drones, whatever it may be. I don't understand why that's not told to the local law enforcement, to your local people. Like, you got to protect your people from any type of gang in the world. So to me, that's a red flag right there, that they're not able to clearly say what's going on, right? Like, that to me is very strange.
These types of decisions have consequences. Medical evacuation flights were forced to divert to Las Cruces. All aviation operations were grounded, including emergency flights. This was a major and unnecessary disruption, one that has not occurred since 9/11. El Paso is not just a dot.
Since 9/11. So think about the threat of 9/11. Nothing has closed an airspace since 9/11. So whatever the FAA thought it was a significant threat, not a little threat, something that they said this is going to be closed down for 10 days, 10 full days.
Paso is not just a dot on a map. We are a major city. We are the sixth largest city in the state of Texas, and we are the 22nd largest city in the United States. Without hospital, military operations, and emergency services and critical infrastructures that depend on coordinated and reliable airspace operations. Decisions made without notice or coordination puts lives at risk and creates unnecessary danger and confusion. From the moment we learned about this, my office worked with Congresswoman Veronica Escobar, Major General Taylor at Fort Bliss, and our local, state, and federal partners to get answers and to push for this to be corrected and lifted, which it was. I appreciate those efforts. I also want to say thank you to the leadership across our community who came together to work through this problem. The city leadership, the El Paso Airport, and our federal and state partners.
So he's thanking everyone right now, but nobody knows what's going on. Like, what are you thanking everybody for? Like, having patience? Like, literally, he's going to begin to tell you that no one knows why they closed it. They just did. And what they're mad about right now is how abruptly they closed it down, how they just shut it down out of nowhere. But nobody knows what the threat was. And now he's thanking everybody. It's beyond me. I don't get it.
Your professionalism and dedication to public safety made a difference. El Paso deserves better. El Paso deserves better communication and better coordination and more respect for the El Paso and the people that live in this community. We will be following up with the FAA to make sure that this never happens again. In closing, I want to emphasize that El Paso has always been a safe city, and we will remain one of the safest cities in the United States. I'm going to turn it over to, who's next? Laura, who's next? Okay.
All right, so basically that guy didn't say anything. He didn't say anything about what was going on. All he did was basically thank the city, right? And to thank them for what, he didn't even say.
We're going to open it up to questions. I will ask you, please wait till we get a microphone to you.
How many emergency medical flights or urgent critical flights were diverted because of this situation?
So I had a call this morning with some of the hospital operations. I don't know the exact number of flights, but I can tell you that there was a lot of surgical equipment that was coming in from Dallas and other parts of the country to do surgeries here in our community. That type of equipment did not show up here in El Paso.
So basically, whatever the threat was significant enough to stop even medical supplies from coming in, right? Like, everything shut down. For some reason, whatever was in, I'm guessing, the desert of El Paso, that's what I'm guessing this is where it happened. Whatever was there, nobody was allowed to see, right? Like, that's what's going on here, is that they don't want anybody, the airspace is shut down, no aerial views, nobody traveling in, shut it all down, whatever's going on right now, nobody can see.
What was the official reason given to you by which agency for the closure of the airport?
Yeah, so we're still determining the official reason, but I can tell you that the FAA was the primary agency that made the decision to shut down our airspace here over this community. So the official reason, we're still trying to get that answer of why it was closed down here in El Paso and southern New Mexico.
This guy's in charge. He's going up there all fired up, telling everybody this can't happen, but he doesn't know what happened. So it's like, if you're really trying to protect your city, you should at least know the cause before you get everybody all bent out of shape being like, yeah, we got to make sure this can't happen again. Well, dude, you don't even know why or anything about what's going on. This could be a serious threat, and you're telling everybody to get mad at what? The FAA? It makes no sense.
You say there was no communication with the city. What does that communication look like when what the federal government says was a security threat? What would that communication look like?
Yeah, I think at the very least that communication looks like calling the city, calling our chief of police, calling the public safety officers that we have in our community to alert them that we're going to be shutting down your airspace in your community. None of that took place. So we woke up, just like many of you, at midnight last night, 1 a.m, to the texts and the calls that we received.
Because when it comes to extraterrestrial disclosure, we're all equal, right? Like, nobody truly knows what's going on unless you're the highest level. So whenever there comes like extraterrestrial UFO type information, everybody, whether you're the city council, you're, the sheriff in town, whatever it is, you're all treated the same at that point. It's just a working job, and this is above your clearance.
That our airspace was shut down. So better communication from our federal government to your city, especially your leadership, that you're going to shut down your airspace.
And this guy right now is being in the head of the public speaking and telling everybody the information. He should probably be a little more hesitant with what he's about to say. He shouldn't go up there being, this can't ever happen again. It needs to be like, hey, maybe there's a reason why we couldn't know. This must have been a significant threat. So I just don't understand how you could go up there and be so naive to, whether it's cartel related or extraterrestrial, it's obviously a real threat that, there has to be some secrecy to. Like, you know what I mean? It can't just be completely open what the threat is. There's probably a reason behind it.
That coordination, that communication just did not happen.
Telemundo.
You were talking about not letting FAA do this again in any near future or anything without communication. Is there anything that, I don't want to say they can face, but that El Paso is doing for them to know that they can't just close the aerial space?
Well, I think, certainly that we've got to look into this more and find out what happened, what caused this to occur. This is certainly something that the FAA needs to look at themselves and figure out what did they do and how can they improve to make this better. Because you just cannot, again, we're a major city. El Paso's a large city. You cannot just shut down a city. There was people coming to El Paso. Our airport was in chaos. Our community was scared. All because someone decided to shut down our airspace. You just cannot do that. And they lifted it real quick. So we've got to figure out what the root cause of that problem was.
So obviously, there's something flying around in the sky in order for them to completely shut down the airports, to create all this chaos and having all these angry civilians. Like, something happened in the airspace, whether it's a foreign drone or it's extraterrestrial, they saw something.
You just cannot do that. And they lifted it real quick. So we've got to figure out what the root cause of that problem was.
And I don't know if they would lift it so quick if it was cartel, unless they brought this thing down and cleared up the debris really fast. I don't know if it would have been cartel, because if the drone did fly away, wouldn't you be worried that it's going to come back? I don't think you would just lift it within 24 hours. This is not even 24 hours ago, they put the ban on the airspace. And now, within 12 hours, they say it's okay again. So I'm going to tell you guys what if it was extraterrestrial, what I think happened. But let's
What
just
kind of financial implications could this have had for the city, for the airport, for travel in general, being potentially shut down for 10 days? And do you know what kind of an impact it had in the hours that it was shut down?
Yeah, I'm sure it's significant. I'm sure that number is large, and it's one of them numbers you may not ever be able to quantify. You look at the travelers that were stuck at our El Paso International Airport, they had to spend money, those that could get a rent-a-car, to get out of El Paso. So that cost them money. You look at some of the business deals that were going to take place today here in our community that just may not happen. So we don't know the complete impact. I've had friends that have texted from Dallas, Texas, that were trying to get rent-a-cars to get back here to our community. I don't know what that number is, but I can tell you it's going to be large.
There were on CNN that one of the reasons was cartels flying drones over airport space or in the vicinity. Is there any truth to that?
Let me turn that over to the chief or to someone else to better answer this.
Thank you, Mayor. So your question on drones, that's just been reported. We have not been notified of anything. That's just rumor that we're hearing, the chatter. As the mayor talked about, there's been no official determination put out to us on why it was closed down, so we won't speculate on any of those.
So obviously, if it was cartel related, the first people that would probably learn that is the government of El Paso, right? Like you would think right now, everyone, even I made a video earlier today covering this that, I thought it could be extraterrestrial related, and people were immediately being like, no, if it's cartel, like they just said it was cartel, but who said it was cartel? Like, who said it was cartel? If it was cartel, you would think the people of El Paso would be alerted right away, maybe even to stay inside, like who knows, right? So I find this whole press conference to be very strange because nobody knows what's going on, but everybody's fired up to say this can't happen again.
And can the airport be closed without your approval, Mayor, or does that have to go through you and you have to give the yes or no on that?
So I've never closed the airport. Again, I've been here a little bit, 13 months. So we've never closed the airport since 9/11. So again, the FAA is the one that shut down the airspace, which ultimately closed our airport. So our airport is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So the answer to that is probably no. I would never close down the airport unless there is a national security threat against this community. So no, we wouldn't close the airport for something like it.
And that's what's weird. It wasn't a national security. It was just one part, as if there was something there, right? Like if it was a drone, it could go anywhere, right? But it was only right there. So it seems like something was on the ground. That's what it seems. Like they closed the airspace, in my opinion, not because something was flying around, because something was on the ground and you couldn't get that aerial shot. They didn't want, you know what I mean? Like there's probably a lot of government trucks, and just like what happened at Roswell, like that area was completely closed off. Like the locals of the time at Roswell, the UFO crash, the ones that were trying to get close to it were all pushed back, and they were pushed back by these aggressive government people. And it all came out years later that like the people that lived in Roswell were all threatened. They were all pushed back. They were all told that their families would basically be erased from this earth if they ever spoke about what they saw, because so many people saw something strange. Nobody saw the little aliens. They all saw the crash debris. And with crash debris, with strange like symbols on the metal. And everybody saw this type of a wreckage that they've never seen before because of the labeling on it. It didn't look American. It looked almost like Egyptian, right? So now you have something on the ground in El Paso, And you can't have any of these aerial shots, and you don't want anybody to see what's happening. You don't want any trucks coming in, even if it's people with important medical supplies. So that's what I find strange here, is that to me, this sounds like something was on the ground. It doesn't seem like a drone is just flying around, because then you would have thought all of Texas would have been closed out or closed off. You know what I mean? And surrounding states, because a drone can travel, right? Like, what are we talking about here? There's obviously something on the ground.
Unless there is a national security threat against this community. So, no, we wouldn't close the airport for something like it. And I will touch on your drone question. There's probably been drones ever since they've been started flying in this community. So that's not nothing new. So a drone shutting down our airspace, we've got to get better than this.
So you were unaware that the airport was going to be closed?
So was I unaware that, so just like many of us in this room, we've got the same alert from the FAA that they were shutting down our airspace. Yeah, so to say that I was aware of this, if I was aware of this, first thing I would have done is had a press conference with this community to say, we're shutting down the airspace.
When it comes to extraterrestrials, guys, we're all equals. Right, like right now, this guy seems like our source of information. He's the guy in charge. But when it really comes down to that higher power and interdimensional being, this guy knows just as much as we do. And he's standing in front of a microphone right now with the same information that I have telling you.
So we did not know that it was going to be shut down.
Univision.
Hi, Mayor. Stephanie Chavez with Univision. I know you mentioned El Paso is not only a dot. We have the border. We also have Fort Bliss. What is the next step as leaders to get the information of what happened and to get better communication? Because, like you said, it affects the citizens, but we also have the border and the Fort Bliss, which a lot of people might think we could be a target since we have the base. What message do you have for the community?
Yeah, so we're going to continue to reach out to our state and federal partners. We'll continue to reach out to the Congresswoman's office to make sure that we have information on what happened. I want to thank our Fort Bliss partners too. I was on the phone not only with our Congresswoman, but with Major General Taylor this morning, and we will make sure that we continue to communicate. And that's what the leadership did in this community. We came together to figure out what was going on. Like many of you in this room, we learned about it the same way. It was something where they shut down our airspace. So we did not know that until we were playing defense at that point. So once we figured out what was going on, the leadership came together to communicate, and we'll continue to do that.
2 more questions.
Do you think there will be a true answer as to why this happened?
I hope so.
Nobody knows what the heck's going on. And honestly, I give this guy a lot of credit, because if I was in charge of him and I was like, dude, you got to get up there, seem angry so the people feel like, yeah, you're working for us, right? Like, that's what this guy's doing right now. I work for you guys and you demand better. That's what this whole speech is. When they ask him, so like, what is it? We don't know. Is it cartel related? We don't know. Nobody freaking knows. So what is it? And to me, the whole thing just sounds like there's something on the ground that we're not supposed to see. I mean, I think this guy did a good job, like, being a servant for the people, because he brought that enthusiasm and that aggression that we all deserve better. But again, when it comes to extraterrestrial knowledge, everybody is equal. Nobody truly knows.
Point. So once we figured out what was going on, the leadership came together to communicate, and we'll continue to do that.
2 more questions.
Do you think there will be a true answer to why this happened?
I hope so.
I'll repeat the question. Do you think that there will be a true, honest answer about why the government chose to shut down the airport?
I sure hope so, and I can tell you El Paso deserves better. We deserve to know why our airport was shut down. It's unacceptable. So I hope we get that answer.
Last question, KDA.
And do you feel that El Paso has just been overlooked by the federal government? Do you think it's because that we are a border community that you weren't notified, that they just shut down the airspace?
Yeah, I don't know that for fact.
He doesn't know anything. Listen, guys, that's the end of the video. I'm surprised not one person in that audience said anything about, could there be a threat on the ground? Not one person. Everybody is so scared to embrace the idea of something from outside our solar system, from a different place completely, and it makes you sound nuts. So nobody wants to ask that question. But honestly, somebody in that audience should have said, could there be a threat on the ground? That's why they don't want any aerial shots. That's why they don't want any trucks coming in. I mean, this was just like a complete go with the flow questions from the audience, and this guy just delivered, you deserve better. Okay, we deserve better. We get that. But what do you think it is? You know, we're still left, like we just watched 16 minutes of a press conference, and we were left with absolute nothing besides we deserve better. Okay, we know that. So, getting to what I think it could be, if it is extraterrestrial related, is that there's a good chance that a craft did go down, okay? And maybe it didn't break into a million pieces. Maybe it went down and it was taken away. There's been many UFO encounters in America where these UFOs have been transported on trucks. So if a UFO craft did go down, right, and it didn't break apart, and now it didn't need this huge sweep, right, that maybe they thought it needed at first, it could have been put on a truck and carried off. You give the desert, you know, a quick sweep, make sure there's nothing there. You can see it's all intact, taken away, lift the ban. If it is extraterrestrial, that's how I see it going down. I do think that if it was a craft and it came down and broke into a million pieces, you'd have that Roswell type of situation where you can't have anybody there right away. Like, it's going to take at least a couple sweeps. You want a day or so just to think about what's going on before we start bringing civilians over there and car traffic, whatever, right? So the way I see it is that if this is extraterrestrial related, it came down, didn't break into a million pieces, but caught us off guard. You know, it's making us shut it down. We have a craft in front of us. No planes coming by. We do not touch the craft, right? That's one thing, is that we know that these extraterrestrial crafts have radiation. It's foreign. We don't know. We have to be careful. We have people like Bob Lazar that have said people that have gotten too close to these crafts have been poisoned and died and, you know, exploded. Some of these crafts have exploded. So we don't know what's in front of us. I believe possibly they got it onto some type of truck, got it removed. Now the best thing to do is open it back up. Let's get this out. Let's get this done. Let's get everybody to stop thinking about this. Open it up. We can't tell you what happened. Maybe it's cartel. Maybe it's whatever. Nobody truly knows. We're not going to tell you. The flights are back in action, and that's it. Taken to a secret base. We'll never hear the truth of this ever again. If anything, maybe they'll make it sound like it is cartel related somehow. But I do believe that if it was cartel related, we would have been told that right away. I mean, we all know that if you live in Texas, you're close to the cartel, right? So I don't understand why, if it was, they can't just say it, because honestly, you don't want people out and about. You want, if there's a cartel threat, stay inside. That's where you're safe. You know, they didn't even tell people that. They just said no air traffic. No air traffic. So I don't know, guys. Again, we're treating this like this was extraterrestrial related. It's easy to say, you know, it's not. Okay, that's easy. Everybody can say it's easy. We can go, there's a lot more strength in saying it wasn't extraterrestrial related than it was. But we're thinking outside the box. We're having fun with it. And I truly think that it's 50-50. Like, it could go either way. So I think the biggest takeaway is if this video can bring in some people that live in Texas, live in that surrounding area, that saw something last night. If you saw anything within the past few days, leave it down in the comments. I read them all, and we'll take it from there, guys. Other than that, that's all I got on this one. If I hear anything else about this, I'll make another video. Otherwise, thanks a lot for your time, guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.